Hey hello everybody, it's Untitled here, and today we are back with even more library of Ruina guides. Now that the final story update dropped, I think it's time to take a step back and make a couple of guides on the mid-game segment of Library of Ruina. Today I'll be covering Urban Plague, the first chapter of the game. This chapter features 4 paths for the player to take. You can beat the receptions of different paths in any order, as they are all available at once. I recommend you to go for the far left reception, then the far right reception, and do the middle receptions in any order. This order matters because the first and first receptions are much easier to complete when compared to the middle ones. Keep in mind that this video will have a lot of spoilers for Urban Plague. If you come here to help with certain reception, all timestamps are in the description and on the bar on the bottom of the screen. Without further ado, let's proceed to the receptions. The far left reception of the first row of Urban Plague is the Carnival. It requires only a Book of Me to enter and has only 3 enemies. All 3 of them have the passive ability Remembrance, that gives the Carnival 2 strengths if any of them have died. They are weak to slashing damage, so be sure to take your strongest slashing attackers. They also endure blunt stagger, so Me won't help you that much here. During this reception, the Carnival will try to attack you with weaker pages, and give you a special combat page, Fascinating Fabric. Fascinating Fabric is a 3-cost page with an 8-8 block die and a 6-8 evade die. This page provides great defense for the player. After using their weaker pages and getting their max light to 4, the Carnival will unleash their deadliest page, Tailoring. This page costs 4 light and has 2 6-10 pierce dice. This is where Fascinating Fabric really helps the player. By using it to counter Tailoring, you render the strongest page useless. For the general strategy, I advise you to bring Host's Flow to this fight, and use Olga for her double pierce resist. During the fight, try to take the abnormality page X. By getting that page, you will greatly improve your slashing attacks, which are the most effective against the Carnival. When attacking these enemies, do not focus down one of them. Bring all 3 of them to low stagger resist and then ambush them in one scene. You do not want to fight against the Carnival with their ability active. The far right reception of the first row of Urban Plague is the Gaze Office. It requires a Book of Olga and a Book of the Molar Office to enter. You will find only 3 enemies there, Elak, Delak and Bono. All of them make use of Paralysis, a debuff that lowers the max roll of your dice by 3. Between the 3, Delak is least threatening. She mostly has defensive and weak pages, and excellent support for Elak and Bono. Bono on the other hand poses a big threat. His signature page, Biting Arms, has a high single roll, and its cost gets lower as Bono uses it. Elak is in the middle in terms of difficulty, as he stacks a lot of strengths using Observe, but with Bono gone, he is pretty easy to deal with. A good strategy is going from top to bottom, by killing Bono first, then Elak, then Delak. To achieve this easily, you'll need some pierce damage dealers. If you're defeated the Carnival before Gaze Office, the stronger page Tailoring can help you a lot. I recommend using Netsix Flow so you can stagger your enemies faster with echoes from the Beyond and Tentacles. By focusing Bono with your entire team, you can stagger him after scene 1 with echoes from the Beyond. Using a roll die on Me gives you a strong clash against Bono. The middle left reception of the first row of Urban Plague is the Full Stop Office. You'll need a Book of the Sly Section 6 and a Book of the Distortion to access this reception. Here you will fight Liwei, Stefan and Tamaki, who are armed with guns. Yes, they're carrying firearms. This is the first reception where you'll encounter ranged pages. Ranged pages always go before melee pages, so you might think of their speed as infinite. But you also should know that when clashing against a ranged page with an offensive die, recycles that die, so you can use it again. If you've beaten Gaze Office before Full Stop Office as recommended, you'll have access to Biting Arms, a combat page with a single stone blunt die that will counter most of Stefan's and Tamaki's pages. Blunt damage is the most effective against this reception, and both Stefan and Tamaki are big to it. To make this fight a bit easier, take Elak on your team. His passive ability will cripple the Full Stop Office on the first scene. The first scene is the most important scene in this reception. On the first scene, all members of the Full Stop Office gain power. This can lead to taking an enormous amount of stagger damage on scene 1. To prevent that from happening, use Elak for his ability and Olga for her double pierce resist. Most of Stefan and Tamaki's pages have strong pierce dice, that renders pierce weak pages like Me useless. Use either Yesod's Flow for blunt dice support, or Roland or Nedzech for higher stagger damage with spell hands and echoes from the Beyond respectively. Focus down Tamaki first as her pages are the deadliest. Stefan is easily countered by Biting Arms, and Liwei doesn't have any ranged pages, so those two are much easier to deal with. The middle right reception of the first row of Urban Plague is Dawn Office. To access this reception, you'll need a Book of Water and a Book of Isadora. Here you will encounter Salvador, Philip and Yuna. All of them share a passive ability, Stigma Workshop Weaponry. This ability lets them easily stack lots of burn on your team. Blunt damage is the best damage type to use against this reception. Both Philip and Yuna are weak to it. and so the endures both pierce and slashing damage. But even though the combat pages of the full stop office aren't that effective, their passive can be repeated to gain +4 power for the first scene with concentration and snipe. During that first scene, focus on Salvador and try to stagger him scene 1. If he's staggered, kill him on the second scene. If he isn't, try to play with the speed of your characters, so you can throw a couple of one-sided attacks at him before you clash. To stagger him more consistently, consider going Roland's Flow for pale hands. On Roland's Flow you can also use scars to lower down Office's damage. For pages to use, you might want to use Alec, even though he's weak to slash and damage, to paralyze Salvador on the first scene. Mars is also an option, as he's the only page that endures slash and damage at this point of the game. But keep in mind that Mars has low base stagger, so it will be difficult to keep him on the field for long enough. I severely underestimated the amount of strategy that goes into beating Orbital Plague levels, so I will stop at row 1 completion of Orbital Plague for now. You'll find the row 2 guide on my channel soon, so subscribe to keep up with Library of Ruina guides if you're struggling with the game and comment your own thoughts and strategies on these receptions. Thank you for watching and I'll see you around. Goodbye.